So now we get to the real part of the meeting, and let's do the fun stuff. So Sibi, you're up.
Okay. All right, thumbs up if you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, sounds
Beautiful.
good.
Okay,
Looks
I love
good.
it. So this is fun. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Hans for the opportunity here. Grateful to be a part of this community. I know we've got a pretty diverse audience from different industries and experiences and backgrounds. So what's incredibly exciting for me to see is how leveraging AI to augment our capabilities is not just confined, right, to certain skills or geographies or backgrounds. They help all of us be better at whatever it is that we're already doing, whether we're an entrepreneur, an employee, or a student, or a government worker, doesn't matter. So tools like ChatGPT are what's considered general purpose technologies, right? So when we learn how to use them effectively with things like, IA, and the prompts that Hans mentioned, I think it helps all of us level up. So it's incredibly powerful stuff. What I wanted to share today is sort of it's a personal journey of continuing to just try a whole bunch of these tools as they come out. There's literally hundreds of them out every week. It's impossible to stay on top of this stuff, and just share the top 5 ones that's actually stuck for me, that I find myself using almost every day. And hopefully you pick up 1 or 2 that applies to your world. All right. Now, typically call to actions come at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start mine with the punchline, which is, in an increasingly AI dominated world, I implore all of us to ask not just how does this make me better and faster and more productive, but how do these tools actually help me be more human, right? Can a tool free up mental space, allowing me to have more meaningful conversations, to have deeper connections with my teams, with my employees? Can it enable us to express ourselves more authentically? Can it help me be more focused and more present and more engaged? So focus on not just how does this improve, cognition, but also connection. Who the hell am I? I'm a husband and a father to our 7-month-old baby girl. AI aside, there are enough reminders for me to be a better human. I also have the privilege of leading an incredibly talented consulting team at a company called Ascent, where we help complex manufacturers achieve their compliance and sustainability goals. Here are the tools, folks. These are the top 5 that I find myself using almost every single day. They're also general purpose enough, I think, that can help most of the audience in whatever you guys do. I don't get endorsed or sponsored by any of these. I'm just big fans of them. They've made my life easier. They help me out a lot. Let's get chatbots out of the way, or what I'm calling advisors. So there's ChatGPT, there's Bing, there's Bard, there's Claude, there's Hugging Chat. There's so many of them. I think a question for a lot of people starting to use these is, what the hell do I use for what, right? And usually I don't think about it. I go, why not all of them all at once? And this little tool lets you do that with a single click or even a keyboard shortcut. So if I just go Control-Shift-G, or I click on my little icon here, what it does is it brings up the 4 most common ones that I use. The first one is ChatGPT 4 with Code Interpreter. The second one is Bing. The third one is Claude. And the fourth one is Perplexity. There are others you can use. So for example, if you right click, there's Together, there's Find, there's Hugging Chat. This is an indie developer. He's pretty active. He does a pretty good job of keeping these up to date. So super, super useful tool. I'm cheating a bit because the tool itself isn't AI technically, but it just puts a wrapper around all the most common LLMs that I do use. All right. So I'm being mindful of time here. So I might not demo each one, but I'll quickly highlight sort of my use cases for each of them, or at least in my world, managing a team. So GPT-4 I use exclusively for data analysis. Code Interpreter is by far, I think, the most impressive implementation of AI. When I think about, there's a lot of cool innovations happening around auto GPTs and agentic behaviors. Code Interpreter, gets it most impressively right for me. So any type of CSV, you can upload CSVs, spreadsheets, anytime you want to analyze data, this is my go-to. Bing does a wide range of stuff really, really well. Like, it's connected to the internet, which ChatGPT is not. So if I need to have the latest information on something, it also uses GPT-4 for free. With Code Interpreter, I got to pay a little bit of money every month. It reads images, it creates images. You can upload screenshots of PowerPoints, and you can get it to analyze what's actually in that. This stuff, Bing is pretty cool. Claude, anytime I want to summarize PDFs, this is my go-to now. I don't mess with, plugins anymore. To me, this has replaced most of the Ask Your PDF plugins, especially long ones. And what's special about Anthropic's Claude is it's got a massive context window, right? So think about like entire transcripts of meetings you can dump in there. You can probably do half a novel in there, and it embeds it into that context window, and it doesn't lose, lose the details. It does a pretty good job of summarizing large text. Also great at writing tasks out of the box. It doesn't sound like a robot. I don't need to use different personas and, Hans magical prompts. I can just out of the box ask it to summarize an email or a meeting or whatever it is. And the writing tasks I find work pretty well here out of the box. Perplexity it's completely replaced Google for me, which I know sounds crazy now that I think about it. Imagine if ChatGPT and Google had a baby. That's Perplexity. So if you need the latest information or accuracy, or Charlene for my research friends, right, who need sources, references, citations, this is your go-to. And like Perplexity is so good. I want to take maybe 10 seconds to show you guys, right? So like, the latest developments in gaming technology. So if I just search this guy up, and it's fast. These guys, I don't know how they've done this. They've done an awesome job. So goes out, right? Imagine that you've got somebody here that goes out to Google, gives you the most relevant links up front, and then synthesizes it, right? Uses natural language to just tell me what I want. Don't make me click on every link, and don't make me find exactly what the most critical, useful, relevant pieces of information is. Just give me the answer. And that's what Perplexity does pretty damn well. And then it gives you, right? It tells you exactly where it's getting the context from. Where are my sources here? And then you can click on each one. It'll actually take you to where it's coming from. You can also edit your initial query if you want to change up the question. And here's where it gets really interesting. You can view the sources. You can remove the ones that may be, right? So if I'm Charlene and I'm doing a research paper, and hey, maybe these aren't the best. You know what? I know I've been in this industry for some time. Perplexity, thanks for the initial stab at this, but you know what? These three are not actually great. Let me actually add my own sources. So you can actually include your own sources. You can remove the ones that are here, and then it's going to resynthesize. It's going to spit out another answer based on the sources that you've put in there. And then what's really cool is you can ask it follow-up questions. Tell me more about NFTs in gaming, right? And it now becomes, it becomes a conversation. You're now conversing with this knowledge that is spitting at you. And they've just baked in images, which is cool too. This has replaced Google for me, folks. So this is another key one that I use. Now, more often than not, like I mentioned, when I want to ask something, I'm not if I know for sure, hey, I need to use Perplexity, I just go in here and ask it, right? And again, the shortcut is awesome. It just brings it right up. If I press Control G, and then when I don't know what I want to use, what I do is, and this tool has a really cool feature where, so maybe I want to ask a question of, so here's one that I was asking the other day. How can we enhance customer satisfaction, loyalty through the utilization of Gen AI in a consulting organization, right? So you can see that as you type it, it just types it in real time in all of the windows. So when I press enter, I'm not going into each one and typing it out separately. They now become a panel of advisors. They all have different personalities. They all spit out different information. What I now usually do is say, okay, interesting. So ChatGPT is giving me this, Bing is giving me this, Claude and Perplexity has its own perspectives. I'm going to layer on what I think is most important for whatever it is that I'm doing. And I just take bits and pieces of it and then create my version. So instead of opening up browser tabs, it's one shortcut away. And I just get into the rhythm of using all four of them in my day-to-day. Okay. A couple other really quick things. I won't demo it, but just to quickly show you, Control R is refresh. So it just refreshes everything in one go. command, like I can, if I say I want to use ChatGPT or Bing or Claude or, you know, just separately, you can just toggle all 4 windows, or you can go Control A, it pulls up everything. If I know, for example, like Hans IA prompts, I know I'm not going to use in Bing because Bing has a character limit. I know I'm not going to use in Perplexity because that's not its purpose, right? So what I do is I just open the windows up. I'll just go, I'm just going to use ChatGPT and I'm just going to use Claude. And then let's actually do this. Let me pull up Hans Dr. IA. I'll just copy this guy, and then I'll just pull up my tool here, and I'll just submit it in. And then what's really cool is now I'm playing with both of these and seeing how does both Claude and ChatGPT interact with Dr. Innovation, right? So it's Dr. Innovation plus ChatGPT. What kind of answers does it spit out? Dr. Innovation plus Claude. What kind of answers does that spit out? So it's really fun for me to always compare how Dr. IA and both of these LLMs interact with each other. Okay, so I can ask it the same thing, you know, just how can we enhance CSAT and loyalty through utilization of generative AI in consulting world, right? So now you have Dr. IA, you know, doing his magic. Hans has another really, really cool one. I think it's the brain simming one, where his prompt creates the personas, or rather it has the personas. So it's like, just treat them as advisors, right? So Hans' brain simming prompt has personas built in to tackle whatever question that you're answering. There's other prompts that will say, create the personas that I think I need to best tackle this question. So what I've found myself doing is, let me put my ego aside. I don't know. Let me be AI first. And what that means is funnel every task, everything you're doing through a panel of advisors. And more often than not, I'm learning stuff that I for sure did not know beforehand.
Have you tried simulating yourself, Sibi, like the self-simming stuff?
We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there. Okay, so that's that, folks. Tomi is number 2. So this is a AI-powered presentation tool. It's what I actually used for this deck. It makes it ridiculously easy to create and share your stories in a really beautiful way. Let's just jump right in. I'm just gonna hit escape here. What's super cool is, so down below at the bottom, you can just say what you want. So create a page about top 5 AI tools. I hit enter. And folks, I put this together probably 5 minutes before I jumped on the call, in all transparency. But check this out. What it does is it then gives you templates. It just creates, hey, you know, you're going to be talking about top 5 AI tools. Which one do you want to create? And I think, yeah, I literally just took this one. I said, keep it. And then I just swapped out the images and the text, right? With what I wanted to share. So what's cool about this is like how much of my cognitive load, how much of my brain time am I taking creating pitches and presentations and decks? This allows me to back to like, I just focus on my idea. I just focus on the story. The actual execution part becomes almost a commodity, right? Like I don't need designers. I don't need like fancy stuff. And this is beautifully designed too. So I just go, you know, you can add titles, like you can add images. So for example, if I want to throw in an image here, it's just drag and drop. What's really cool is you can use AI to actually create the image. Now for my title page here, I didn't use the AI engine here. Quite frankly, I don't like the image generation AI in Tomi yet. I use Leonardo AI for this one, but everything is kind of like built right in here for us, right? You can embed videos. This is cool. You can actually record yourself for each of these slides, and you can see sort of real time, the little bubble here, and then you can redo it. You can edit that. It just makes it super, super simple. You can change the design up here. There's parts of here, you can select a text and then you can say reference, or you can say AI edit, rewrite this, adjust the tone, reduce. So I don't need to go back out to ChatGPT, copy and paste this in. How do I say this better? This just does it all for me. Cool. So This actually, I mean, reminds me of there's an Albert Einstein quote, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. And I think Tomi, the team here, is doing a fantastic job of that. Really, really great tool. So saves time, effort, creating these presentations. I still get to express my ideas in a compelling way. It just helps me focus on the ideas and it takes care of the rest. All right. Snipped. So for podcast fans out here, this is now my go-to podcast app. Again, I'll be mindful of time. What I wanted to do is actually show it on my phone, but I'll talk about, some of the benefits here. So here's the thing. I love me some Lex Friedman podcasts. I just don't have 3 hours, to consume them in my day. Right. So I just love Snipped because it does a bang up job of using AI to extract the knowledge from these episodes, and it integrates with all of your favorite note-taking apps. I use Obsidian. If you use, there's a whole bunch there, Notion, whatever it is, it makes the knowledge more accessible and actionable. Okay. So here's just the page for it. The call to action here is just go download it. It's free. Most of everything that I've mentioned here is free. Like, for example, Tomi, there's enough value in the free version. I don't pay for it. ChatGPT, Claude, free. Perplexity, free. Bing, free, except for ChatGPT Code Interpreter. That's the only paid one that I'm using so far. So this is really cool, folks. Again, download it, try it out. What's my favorite feature of this is when I'm listening to an episode and there's a key moment that I want to bookmark, I triple click on my AirPods, and it saves that portion as a snip. You can save 30 seconds, save 40 seconds, whatever it is. Then the app crowdsources everybody's snips, and you can discover and listen to just the most snipped parts of every episode. So if you don't have time to listen to the whole thing, great. I'm just going to pull up Ange and I love the All In podcast. And the last one, that's what I did. I didn't have 2 hours to listen to the whole thing. It surfaces, here's the moments that have been snipped by a lot of people. And those are the key moments that I go through and look at it. It also uses AI to actually essentially turn the whole podcast into a book. So and it splits it out into specific summaries. It's made information, just knowledge, more accessible and actionable. Incredible tool, incredible team. Really love this product. All right. Audio Pen. So shout out to, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is an indie developer from India. There's so much, someone mentioned, I think Sai mentioned this earlier. There's so much cool stuff coming out of that country. It blows my mind. So I actually want to demo this here. Okay. And I'm going to do this real time. I have not tested this, but I use it on the app on the phone, but I just recently found out that there's actually a Chrome extension too. So it's the easiest way to capture thoughts on the go and convert it into clear, comprehensible, well-worded summaries for your thoughts and share them out. Okay. So we're going to give this a shot in real time. So I got some yard work done and I need to write a testimonial, and I'm just going to ramble it. Okay. With all the ums and ahs, and let's see what it spits out. All right. I want to thank, God, what was their name? Empire Deck and Fence. We had, a pretty decent experience. We had an amazing experience from beginning to end. They were professional, they were dedicated, all that good stuff. Craftsmanship was on point. They were flexible. They were just really, really good. I want to recommend them. 4 out of 5. You know what? 5 out of 5. Let's just give them a 5 out of 5. Okay, so this is actually, I actually need to do this testimonial. Let's see what it does. So it uploads it, it transcribes it, and then what it does is it rewrites it. Okay, so this is actually it's saved me from, instead of taking my voice and transcribe. Okay, let's see how it does. I want to thank, so I definitely don't want to thank God, got that wrong. And Empire Deck and Fence. We had an amazing experience from start to finish. They were professional, dedicated, and their work was great. They were also flexible. I recommend them with the 5 out of 5. Not bad. Takes out all the ums, takes out all the ahs. I went back and forth. I said 4 out of 5. Nope, maybe 5 out of 5. I said, they were pretty good. All right, decent. No, they were actually amazing. It took the amazing part. This has changed how I ideate. There's lots of things for team meetings and things. It gets my thoughts out from my head down on paper without going through the cognitive load of how should it read, right? It's removed that friction. So again, back to how does this make me more human? I really it's made me more of an authentic communicator. Like if I'm going on walks, right, with my baby, I don't have time to pull out my phone and, type stuff in. I'm just rambling. I'm just rambling into this app, and it just converts it into coherent wording. So this is awesome. Like if you're into content creation, if you're into, it's just this, if you're into any kind of knowledge work, I think this will be super helpful. Again, shout out to, I forget the gentleman's name, but I'm pretty sure he's an indie developer out of India. So that's AudioPen. The last one, folks, that I want to highlight for you guys is a tool called Rewind. All right. Now, this one gets interesting. All right. What if I told you, this is this gets into some sci-fi shit here. What if I told you could have a second brain that sees and hears everything you do, and you could instantly rewind and recall any of it? Rewind AI is the best implementation of this I've seen thus far. It's a Mac app. It's also for your iPhone. It records everything on your Mac and your iPhone, and it makes it instantly searchable with AI. All right. All the recordings are, my understanding is they're stored locally on your Mac. Only you have access to them. You can easily pause. You can delete them anytime. You can also tell Rewind exactly which apps you don't want it to record. And what's really cool about this is, so let's check this out. Again, it's a keyboard shortcut away. If I just press Command-Shift-Space, what it does is it pulls up your timeline. And then you can literally ask your entire memory. So, what was Hans talking about? Brain simming, right? And what it does is, it's tracking everything on your screen. It's tracking everything that you're listening, and it's tracking everything that you're saying. So, and then it uses GPT to synthesize, go back into my memory and tell me, right? So Hans Marais has been discussing a concept called brain simming, which is a new technique involving multiple AI personas participating in virtual brainstorming sessions. And then it gives me sources for when in my memory this came up. All right. And then it tells me, right, in a Zoom meeting, we talked about it, whatever it is. Here's the crazy part. This is giving me all the points in time in my memory that I have either played with brain simming or Hans has played or talked about brain simming. It takes me to the specific tab. It takes me to the specific link. So I can, if I just click on this first one, for example, look at this, August 18th, 12:02 p.m. This is today. This is right now. This is about an hour ago, right? This is from August 4th. This is from August 16th. And this will actually take me back to that specific point in time, right? So incredibly powerful stuff. Now, how does this make me more human, right? Now think about how much of your time we spend searching through emails, notes, knowledge bases, how much of our day-to-day, it's just right? It's crazy. There is a tweet by, actually, I think I put it here somewhere, by a GP, and she said 2023, this was yesterday, 2023 is a tipping point for automatic meeting recording and notes. And what the takeaway here is, the social cost for something like this, folks, was too high for a long period of time. But the value that businesses and individuals are going to get from something like this is finally at a point where I think it's just going to be, it's inevitable, right? We're all going to be able to run with something like this, and it's going to save us a shit ton of time and make us a lot more efficient and make us a lot more productive, right? So those are the 5 tools that I wanted to share with you guys. Again, call to action, couple things. One is jump right in, right? A lot of this stuff is free. They're general purpose. We don't need our CIO's approval to run with a lot of these things. Now, again, be mindful if you're using this for work and you're in a corporate environment, be thoughtful, right? Make sure you're following policies and guidelines. If you're an entrepreneur, I mean, God, I mean, like just the world's your oyster, right? Like the tools that we're now empowered with to build some really, really cool stuff is incredible. So jump right in, take advantage of some of these things. Hopefully these gave you guys some ideas. Yeah, I appreciate it. I know we've got a bunch of other stuff, so I'll stop here. Thanks, everybody. I'll stick around a little bit later if you've got questions on any of this.
Hey, Sibi, thank you so much. That's fantastic. I learned a lot. I'm excited about it. So